Hello, welcome everyone to the Ooru Labs podcast where we talk about the future of urban sustainability. This is my first episode. I don't know how it's going to turn out. Let's see how it goes. What are we going to do here? Well, we'll check out hot topics, trending news in the area of urban transport, waste, energy, water consumption, and the new digital economy and its implications for urban living, right? We'll talk about that, and I'd like some guests on the show. So if you're interested in joining and talking about these things, ping me, write to me, and we will see how we can include you and talk about these things. Uh, uh, the Council for Active Mobility is a collaborative of civil society organizations and members promoting active mobility, which is defined by walking, cycling, and by extension, public transport. Now, this has been a very important topic in urban transportation. We have this whole addiction to the motor vehicle, which is having a lot of implications on climate change in urban areas, which is a huge part of the society now. Um, Apparently, 70% of the world's populations are going to be living in cities, which is up from about 54% in 2020. That's what the new Statista report says, right? And large cities like Bengaluru have already hit the megacity status and are expected to see close to 150% GDP growth by 2030. That's an amazing number, right? We are talking about massive growth, and this is going to double the population. We are at 1.3 crores in the Bengaluru urban area, and it's probably going to touch 2.5 crores at the end of the decade. What are we going to do? How are we going to solve these things? CFAM has taken on a small role. I'm a part of that, and trying to create an environment where active mobility can flourish, where people can start walking more, cycling more. How do you make the city enable you to do that? That's something we should talk about. We bring out a newsletter every week, the CFAM newsletter. We'll use this podcast to discuss issues from the newsletter and, of course, other items from social media that I find interesting, that you might find interesting, that you want to talk about. So we are at newsletter number 15 now in CFAM, and you should check it out. Go to cfam.substack.com. You should be able to subscribe, and you'll get this in your email, and we can talk about that in the podcast. We'll probably attach the podcast to the newsletter as well. Right now, what's in newsletter number 15? Well, very touchy topic. Why bicycle helmets aren't making us any safer. This was a Slate article. I'd like to deep dive into that, and maybe we'll have some of you chime in on that maybe next week. That's Are helmets actually making us safer? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. There was also an item on how communities are making cities safer for cyclists. This was an incident that happened last week. Where the drain covers were split and there were gaps so wide that the cycle wheel got stuck and people just toppled over. And I've had that fall before. When the grading lines are parallel to the direction of traffic, it does snag the bicycle wheel, or at least dislodge your balance for a minute, and that's all it takes for you to fall in the middle of traffic. So it's a simple solution. You just lay them perpendicular to the flow of traffic, and I've done that. I remember here in Maker Circle, Bangalore, the underpass used to have parallel gratings, and somebody complained, and it got made this way. So it's a simple thing. The square gratings that are on the drains on the streets, you just have to flip it around. And I think it got done in Malaysia a little while ago. Just turning them around, and that makes it a lot more safer. But incidentally, somebody from the community took it up. The Resident Welfare Association in Indranagar, I change Indranagar. They took it up. They went in, spoke to the BBMP engineer, double E, and got her some compensation for the bills. She had a deep gash and some hospital bills and some repairs on her cycle. And yeah, that could have been dangerous, but that was fixed. And I think more and more communities are needing to step up and start making the area safer, right? What does it take for you to promote sustainable transport? You need to be safer on the roads. So that's how it works. The touchy topic of bicycle helmets. Let me pull out the Slate article and see what it says. Oh, well, quite long-winded, well-researched, a lot of points for and against. And I do believe I have another one which actually says it is not that the bike helmets are making you unsafe in itself, right? If you have protection, you fall down, that protection is going to contribute to something or the other, right? It's logical. It's logical that uh, pedestrians need to be protected on the streets as well because Karnataka, for example, has a lion's share of pedestrian fatalities, 13% last year. I think it was 2021. I don't know when the study was. I don't have it in front of me, but that's what it was, right? Well, that could be quite uh, dangerous. So, does this mean pedestrians wear helmet? It will make them safer, right? You do know that. So, why wouldn't you say pedestrians need to wear a helmet? What you do instead is to say it is the job of the motor vehicle to take care of the pedestrians when they cross the road, when they're on the street. Why doesn't that apply to cyclists? Why isn't it the responsibility? Now, you could say, well, it is happening and we need protection. Yes, we do. But think about it. It is very important to talk about this further. And maybe we should do that on a complete podcast in itself. Uh, go through the studies and see if there are any. Uh, there's always an evidence supporting uh, wearing a bike helmet. Well, you could. I mean, you fall something, you protect. You wear something that helps you not get hurt. It's going to be useful. But what does that make the city? Everybody is arming themselves to the teeth, right? And most of the times, the fall is usually sometimes because of bad roads. That's a major contributor. The incident we just saw, that was just bad engineering, right? We could prevent a lot of injuries that way. It gives you more confidence to go on the road. I was just cycling down. There's a pothole right in the middle of the road, and I was just hurtling down. It was down a flyover, and yeah, I mean, you like momentum. Cyclists like momentum. You don't want to lose momentum. You want to carry it on to the end where you know the next man-made hump is going to come. It's usually called a flyover or an overpass or something like that. You want the momentum. You want the momentum on undulations. And cyclists hate it worst when somebody interrupts you when you have momentum. You know that, I know that. So we'll save this for another day and see what we can make of the city with all these things. But this is something that I have been uh, saying a lot is bicycle helmets cannot be mandatory. It also excludes a huge amount of the daily wage laborers, especially in a country like India, who can't afford a bike helmet. A bike helmet costs upwards of 1,000 rupees, maybe 800, right? And that's about 10% of the cost of the vehicle, or sometimes 20% if it's a cheaper vehicle, cheaper bicycle. So we have to look at these issues in totality and look at the unintended consequences of doing what you say, making things mandatory. But it's always recommended. When I go out onto the countryside, I do wear my helmet, but not in my local area when I go to purchase my groceries. And that's only because I sometimes ride on the highways, and it is something that I feel is useful because I do ride a little fast sometimes, not as fast as some of the other guys, but I do end up clocking about 25, 30 kmph sometimes. Not that I'm strong, but just because I have momentum on slopes. So that's where we are. This is a short introduction to what the kind of topics we'll be talking about. We'll bring up controversial topics. Let's have a cool discussion around that. Put in your comments below. I'm thinking of putting this on YouTube. I don't know how this is going to come out. Let's see. We'll put it out there and then slowly upgrade and start talking more and make good value. And thank you for listening in today. I think it's been good. Until next time. Bye bye.